besties. You've found your community bestie to share thoughts and opinions, recap the shows we love,
Having too much fun.
Bravo should be fun.
and have piping hot gossip sessions about the celebrities and Bravo lebs we love, hate, and love to hate.
He went on a podcast claiming he had a threesome with two women from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Immediately, I was like, I wonder if it's Brandy and Carlton.
I'm Caitlin Marshall, your pop culture and Bravo bestie.
Allegedly allegations.
And if you enjoy fun conversation between friends, listening to your bestie rant about shows we can't get enough of, plus enjoy a little bit of, well, ridiculousness.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's a spider that is coming down. Hold on.
It's like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh my God. Has anybody seen my ring?
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin the party or anything.
Have you seen my ring? Oh my God. Can you look on the floor for my ring? God, no one's gonna kill me.
Don't mess with me because I will come.
What? Oh.
Feel free to leave that in for whatever entertainment purposes.
You're in the right place. So thanks for joining me on Besties by Bravo. Hi, besties. Thank you for joining me today, February 28th. It's Friday, my friends. Hope you have some fun weekend plans coming up. I don't, because life is insane, but I'm sure something will come up. You know how it is. Well, it's Southern Charm Day, besties. And here's the thing. There's a lot to cover regarding things around Southern Charm. Sally went on Watch What Happens Live last night. And y'all, I think she is really going to work it to be able to come back next season. She is hinting kind of at the whole, is she, or I'm sorry, are they or aren't they with her and Craig, because there was a spotting of the two of them out having dinner the night before the reunion was taped. And Michael's from Southern Hospitality, which y'all better be watching. Southern Hospitality is so good. I'm so overwhelmed with everything, clearly, because I think the long running joke of this show is now going to be, you ever going to cover Beverly Hills? I deserve that. But I would be covering Southern Hospitality if my life were not as insane as it is right now. And I talk about it so much, and I'm sure y'all are tired of hearing about it. So I'll stop saying that. No, I won't. I'm sure I won't, because every day is a new day for insanity to ensue. You know what I mean? But Michaels was really holding Sally to it whenever Andy brought up the whole Craig dinner date thing, but Sally did say that it wasn't just the two of them having dinner, that they're just getting to know each other as friends, wink, wink, and that Craig's longtime friend was there, as well as his assistant. But that hasn't stopped anybody before. And even Michaels was like, "Oh, chaperones, okay." So I'm interested to see where this is going. She was also, well, they played that game of swipe left or right on fellow single Bravo lebs who were men that were straight, and she made it very clear she was into West Wilson from Summer House. She was. Yeah. Okay. Then she did an exclusive with Page Six that was released today. And she said that Austin actually told her when it came to the hookup that was or wasn't almost happened with Taylor and Green, Shep's ex Taylor, that Austin told her when they were on the boat that the reason they didn't hook up all the way was because Austin was a little drunk and certain things were not performing. So it was actually going to go that far, according to Sally, according to what Sally claims Austin told her, but it didn't because of, well, the whiskey, Richard. Anyway, Very interesting. Interesting. I'm telling you, the way Sally is working so hard for it. She is, and she's gonna be back. I the way she has really worked it, she is. Okay. Let's get into the recap, shall we? We open with JT's arrival, and everyone is coming back from their activities of the fish fry and snorkeling. And then the girls are getting ready for dinner. And Madison calls Brett. And I just love how Brett knows his wife so well that he tells her, look, go ahead, just don't start anything when it comes to this dinner, but you can go ahead and finish it, honey. And he knows his wife. She might start it too, though. I have to say how much I am truly enjoying the squirrel friends relationship between Austin and Madison these days. They really are just the best of girlfriends, and I love it. JT goes ahead and joins the group to go to dinner. And oh, Vanita, our precious Vanita, she really is just like, she's got hard eyes for him, and it makes me sad. Madison says that if you're friends with JT, you have to go in the other Sprinter van, the one that she's not going in, because the other Sprinter van is the one that JT is going in. And I have to be honest, y'all know how I feel when it's a gang up and when someone is singled out to this point. I feel like it's becoming bullying to JT. Can JT be insufferable? Abso-freaking-lutely. But do we have to be that mean? Whitney is actually going to join everyone for this dinner. Then Sally, when they get there, she really does. It's a pretty sophomoric moment here because she's like, I can't sit next to him when it comes to her almost sitting next to JT. Now, here's the thing. I did say Sally was working overtime to get back on for next season, for season 10. However, if she were smart, she would have sat next to JT because she would have gotten so much more camera time and she would have easily been more involved because we know, and she knew, everybody knew it was going to be a big old confrontation with JT at this dinner, whether he liked it or not. But our messy Lisa Rinna Craig, I have to give credit to the girls over at Bravo Breaking News. Lisa there calls him Rinna Craig. And so I don't want to say that I don't want to claim something I can't claim. I love to give credit where it's due, but just so you know, Rinna Craig knows that's where he's going to get more screen time. So he swaps with Sally. Sally ends up asking Shep why Sienna isn't there. And he says he thinks sorry, this is just, God bless. Okay, I can't even get the sentence out. It's just so. Shep says he thinks that it's because they know how much they click. And she doesn't want to lose that. I mean, how much more delusion and secondhand cringe must we endure as a collective audience? Bravo. Please, I beg you. Craig just says he's been dealing with this essentially Delulu all day with Shep. And when Shep goes to the restroom, Craig goes ahead and gets into the mess, starts gossiping, being our little gossy queen, which Austin is already getting very annoyed at because he feels like Craig is showing absolutely no empathy regarding Shep and the whole Sienna thing. But don't worry, when Shep sits back down at the table, he's easily distracted by Madison's cleavage. Listen, I am a very much straight woman, and Madison is stunning. I'd be very distracted by Madison's shiny, oiled up cleavage. She is just so stunning. And then, oh no, please don't, Shep. Shep, please help. He asks Molly if she saw the text he sent Sienna and shows it to her. Again, Shep, here's the thing. You should, if you were going to show it to anyone, you should have shown it to Molly at first because you are clearly so proud of this thing you sent to Sienna via text message. And the only person at this point who was going to be even remotely impressed by the wordsmith that you fancy yourself is Molly. Oh, Molly, you are so blinded, but what can I say? What can I do? Anyway, Molly's eating it up. Why? Why, Shep? Why are you reading this? Stop it. She thinks it's so sweet and tells him he's poetic. Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and Andy Cohen, make it stop. Madison says in confessional that she's like, hey, ding dong, you got Molly right here who actually likes you. Why don't you shoot your shot with someone that is into you? But we know he's an idiot, so here we are. I love Madison LaCroix, which, by the way, congratulations. Madison is having a baby girl with Brett. Oh, she's, I swear, I just love Madison. I can't help it. Even when I think she's being a little shit, I think she is amazing. The boat excursion for the next day is brought up and the size of the boat that it's going to be. And Sally tells JT that the boat is big enough to not notice if JT goes missing. JT does start trying to compliment Sally and break the ice, but Craig tells JT the things he said to Sally that night. You know, it was at his event space after Molly's orchestra event, the symphony thing. I forget the name of her. It's not the tuba. It's kind of like it, right? Anyway, he tells JT that he had hurt Sally's feelings that night and that his side is, oh, I'm sorry. And JT says that his side is that he stands up for people and sometimes there are stray bullets. Craig is going to get on Austin's very last and final nerve, the nth nerve. He makes everyone, Craig does, shift a seat over so that Craig can sit in the middle because he doesn't want to be on the end. And now Austin is who gets stuck at the end. Listen, Craig really at this moment, he's saying, I'm the star of the show, bitches. Don't get in the way of my light. This is my shot. I mean, Craig knows what he's doing, y'all. Oh my gosh, it would make me insane too. Sally asks JT if he feels any kind of way that there are literally 4 people there that he needs to apologize to. And I have to say, it's quite fascinating watching this because we, as the audience, know what was really said at this ridiculous indoor driving range when Craig, Shep, and JT went. And JT was saying some pretty out of pocket things, but not quite as out of pocket as Craig made them out to be. I mean, JT was being a little weird and messy. Let's be real. We know the truth of what was actually said, though, at least what the editors have shown us. And with the exception of the full-blown lie about what JT did not say about Miss Patricia, the rest was just wildly stretched so far. I mean, that rubber band's about to snap. It is stretched so far, my friends. But JT tells Sally he's doing okay with being in some hot water for a bit, and Austin Kroll is staring daggers at JT. JT wants to try and have one-on-one conversations with each person and be respectful by not bringing up the shit that's festering with each person at this dinner table. Ryan tries to explain to JT not everyone can brush their issues under the rug for the time being like he can. And Sally is pissed, asking why it's on JT's terms to have these conversations of resolution. But Shep defends him on it because JT just effing got there, guys. Like, he has not even had a moment to probably unpack. He hasn't been throwing back drinks all day to get ready to fight and brawl at this dinner table like some of y'all have, you know. Craig interjects that it's going to be impossible to have the necessary conversations tomorrow on the boat and still be able to have a good time, which, listen, I see both sides of it. JT's like, I just freaking got here. Give me a moment. I haven't even been around you all for more than an hour tops. And at the same time, Craig's like, no, we're not going to be able to have these real conversations. Craig's being producer tonight. I'm just mostly for himself, but I feel like Craig's like, no. Tomorrow is supposed to be the scene where we're all having fun and enjoying ourselves. And at this point, it's supposed to be the scene where Shep and Sienna have their moments. Tomorrow is not supposed to be the scene where JT gets to hash things out with everyone while sitting on a boat. That's the way I took it. So anyway, JT calls Craig out because of this on the full-blown lie of saying that JT called Miss Patricia a bitch. Craig is going to stand in his own false conviction 10 toes down, honey. All 10 toes on the floor. And at this point, I don't know how Craig can be so incredibly certain like this, but okay, sure. Because that conversation did not even hint that JT was saying Patricia was even bitchy. Just that she clearly didn't like the gift of his cane, which was a faux pas on JT's part. He screwed up. It wasn't that big of a deal, and it shouldn't have been that big of a deal, but I am going to say I think they made it into a bigger thing because this show was supposed to originally be all about the Southern charm and Southern manners and politeness and the bless your heart, meaning fuck you of it all. You know, I think I at least that's my belief as to why they went ahead and let this whole thing run rampant regarding JT's gift of a cane to Patricia. But then, oh no, Madison, honey, it's killing me how much you're about to be very wrong. Madison says she doesn't think Craig would lie about JT calling Miss Pat a biatch because he doesn't get off on making people in this friend group feel like shit. I don't think Craig gets off on making everyone in the friend group feel like shit. I'm not saying that, but I I don't know. I can't decide if Craig knows deep down that he's lying at all or if it's just truly that he believes his own conviction here. But now it comes down to who it should have come down to a long time ago. Shep being very quiet over there. And listen, sir, I know you're very focused on the sad, lovesick ASPCA puppy dog with the Sarah McLachlan singing "In the Arms of the Angels" while you stare at us in the rain through a screen door storyline. But you could have shut down this whole thing a long time ago. JT asks Shep to back him up on this, that he did not call Miss Pat the B word. And Shep says, I didn't hear that, and I'm on the record saying that. Your Honor, I object. I have an alibi. Sienna was stringing me along, and I'm just a sad puppy who wants to be loved, preferably by a woman at least 20 years younger than me and a beauty pageant winner, but I'm not picky. Taylor says that JT would never talk about a woman in that way, that he has other issues, but he wouldn't call a woman a bitch. And because Craig wants us to remember he's an attorney, at least now he is, Craig brings up what JT said about Austin and Audrey. We get the flashback, and JT blames Leva, saying she told him that Austin was hooking up with another girl while seeing Audrey. And look, okay, but maybe it was before Austin and Audrey were exclusive. I mean, who the hell knows anymore? Regardless, yes, JT was being messy. But this just got, it's like, talk about mountain and molehill. Then Craig is just starting his closing argument, bringing up the Madison portion that JT talked about. Craig says JT was making fun of Madison and Brett for FaceTiming them on their vacation, which prompts Madison to ask JT if he used the actual quote-unquote word affair, which he denies. But Craig says he stands by everything he said. And when asked, Shep says he didn't hear the word affair because it was so nonsensical, it didn't even make any sense. Well, Mr. Word of the Day, calendar word of the day, man, wordsmith. That's what nonsensical is. The flashback of JT is saying, remember in Jamaica when Madison put on my outfit with the blue stripes? Remember they were all doing impressions of each other on the bus and just being silly? All he said was, I think it made Brett get a little weird. I mean, it was weird shit to be saying to begin with and bringing up, but it wasn't at the level that Craig has made it out to be. Period. Dot. End of story. Vanita clarifies JT didn't say the B word or affair. So what is the actual story? Which JT's like, lies. And Madison says in confessional, she's starting to realize this may have been blown out of proportion and that Craig maybe made it more dramatic than it was. Madison tells JT, I'm not going to embarrass you in front of all these people, so we'll talk tomorrow. JT is over the top grateful. Craig says, I really thought you were going to own your shit and apologize to everyone. JT tells Craig he needs to walk it back. And Craig is very much stuck on the fact that he believes that he didn't lie. JT loves himself a little fire reference, apparently, because, I don't know, maybe he knows Madison's husband is a firefighter, so maybe he's trying to get back in good with her on a subconscious level, being like, fire, you love a man who fights him, so I'm going to talk about fire and flames. I don't know, y'all, don't even ask. I'm stretching. No, maybe, yeah, I am. I'm going to throw my back out stretching on that one. But hey, he tells Craig that what he said flamed us, him and Madison. Craig is now pointing his finger at JT saying that no, you flamed it. And Craig has to get up and go to the bar. I do have to say, I feel that JT is keeping it pretty calm considering he's having to defend himself on something he didn't say. I would have a hard time not being like, listen here, you little mother effer. And a lot of other words. But now it's Austin's turn to start hammering in on JT. And at this point, it's like, can we get a Danielle Staub one at a fucking time? JT tries to tell Austin that Craig gaslights him and that he's gaslighting JT with saying, you said all of this. This is what you said. It's the truth when it wasn't the truth. I mean, I don't know, y'all. Isn't that what gaslighting is? Telling JT that he said something he didn't say when JT knows he didn't say it. And by the way, I don't know if y'all have heard the origin story of gaslighting, but literally it comes from now, me and history, maybe the 1800s, maybe later. I don't know, when they used gas for their lamps in their home, and it would be the gas light. And it's the story of a man who would lower the gas lights all the way down to where it just, you couldn't really see in the home at night. And his wife would be like, why is it so dark in here? And he would pretend that it wasn't. He'd be like, I can see perfectly fine. I don't know what you're talking about. And then he would eventually turn the lights back up and she'd be like, I feel like I'm going crazy. It is so dark in here. You keep what is happening with the lights? I can't see. So gaslighting comes from turning the gaslight lower, turning it up, making someone feel crazy about seeing what they're seeing and pretending that they're not seeing what they're seeing or hearing or saying. You get the picture. Austin is telling JT that he always steps in shit and deflects, and really Austin is going in. So Shep asks Austin why Austin doesn't talk this way to Craig, and oh, okay. Austin tells him, don't you dare compare the two. Don't you dare. At the bar, Craig is telling Ryan that while he doesn't have a complete transcript of the conversation, he knows what he heard. Again, I think Craig is either at this point realizing he's misremembering or that he's getting caught stirring the pot to give storyline outside of Shep and Sienna, which, I mean, yeah, that cannot be the entire storyline for the entire season. But again, y'all, it always backfires when these Bravo Lebs, when these cast members do a full-blown pile-on. I'm going to feel bad for whoever is getting piled on, period. I can't help it. And then Craig calls Shep a poussé for not backing his story on what he's claiming JT said, because he thinks Shep just only wants everyone to get along. And again, back at the table where everyone is just piling on JT. This is the thing. We Bravo fans don't like these pile-ons because we watch these shows for the drama that ensues in the resolution, but also because it's like in our daily lives, we can't typically just go confront someone the way these people are able to confront each other and have it be an even playing field. Okay. They get paid to do this and it's supposed to be this way. In our typical lives, like it's usually a boss that we're ready to fire back at, a customer, a client, anything where there's an imbalance in power. And when that imbalance seeps into these shows and they really knock someone down to the bottom, we are going to, well, I shouldn't say we, I personally, I'll say, am going to feel bad for the person who has been made to be the underdog. I don't think it's fair and I don't like it. It feels like bullying at that point. Anyway, Sally calls out Shep, saying he's been friends with Austin and Craig much longer than JT and questions why he's standing up for JT and not Austin and Shep. Shep says that he's always open and very clear about how he feels about people and what he thinks of them and just how he feels in general, as opposed to Austin, who he says, Austin holds back all the time. And y'all, the way I started cackling at this, Austin goes, that is a different animal. He was going in so strong. Really going in strong. And then it was like, I am absolutely not right. Shep tells Austin it's true. And here, look, I am actually pleasantly surprised by Austin acknowledging this. Austin tells him, look, you're not wrong. In confessional, Shep points out the double standards with Austin and Craig, that Austin talks a big game about Craig, then backs down. But with JT, he feels that Austin finds him an easy target. Now Austin is yelling at JT about how he's holding this grudge against him, with Sally saying she won't go on the boat tomorrow if JT is going, and then Austin calling JT a little weasel. I mean, y'all, when you see how wrong Craig got the story, I hope you're going to feel a bit bad for how hard you went in on JT. JT looks over at Vanita as this dog pile is happening, and he asks her to weigh in, but it seems like Vanita's kind of frozen at this point. And let's not forget the hammering she's taken the last 2 years from Naomi and Madison. I mean, Naomi was not kind to Vanita. Then Austin, I mean, Jesus, take the damn wheel. You're doing too much now, telling JT he's a piece of shit on his shoe. Now, listen, I get it. Being angry at JT essentially accusing him of cheating on Audrey, I understand. But you also could have stopped, before, and like at the little weasel, you could have stopped. Okay. You made your point. So JT gets up and leaves. And as Shep walks up behind Craig at the bar, Craig's in the middle of saying, I've never done anything with ill intent. And Craig tells Shep he's disappointed in him because he was there with him and JT, and he felt that they were in such a good place. Now, here's the thing, though. Craig, are you upset that Shep is telling the truth and that he's not backing you up on your lie? Or are you upset because you genuinely believe in your heart of hearts that was said? I'm having a hard time differentiating between what it actually is or not. At the table, Vanita is tearing up, saying JT is her best friend at this table. I don't know. I mean, I can see where people could find JT to be a great friend, but it's a little bizarre how much she's calling him her best friend. And wow, it's very Sheena Shea coded, Shep wanders back over to the table, and when he's asked what he was doing, he says he went to go smooth things over with Craig because then he says, Craig scares me. And he starts cracking up. So, I mean, yeah, he's being pretty open and honest about how he feels about Craig. So I guess he did have a point when he said to Sally, look, you will know how I feel about anyone when I say how I feel. But it's time for this dinner portion to be over. So they all leave, and JT's just sitting all by his little lonesome there in the Sprinter van. I mean, that must be real. Can you imagine being like, I'm leaving, and storming out of a dinner after being just pummeled by everyone at the table, and then you had to go sit in the van like a little kid who got punished and put in timeout in the car because you were misbehaving at the dinner table? Oh my gosh. Anyway, Craig is going to be a little bitter Betty and says that JT's best friend Shep is going in there when they divide up between the Sprinter vans. And Craig is still calling Shep a pussy for not taking his side on what he claims JT said. And you know what, y'all? I'm going to say it here. Good for Taylor for having a voice saying JT has shit to work on, but that she does not believe he called a woman the B word. Thank you. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to be the fandom. When you're not pandering to just giving us BS storylines, and you stand up where, in your own convictions, where that they need to be stood up for, yeah, we're going to back you. I appreciate that Taylor is not afraid to be like, no, y'all, I don't believe JT would say this. This is bullshit. Bullshit, mama. The other Sprinter van is just Shep, JT, Vanita, and Whitney. Oh my gosh. And JT says he's leaving tomorrow because he now knows what it feels like to be a human pinata after that dinner. And y'all, Whitney Sudler Smith is shit faced. There's no other way to put it because he tells JT after JT says he's leaving tomorrow. No. Don't leave tomorrow. Have a sensible conversation with Madison, who's mostly just here. What, sir? What was that? We've now seen Whitney so shit canned twice on this show. Maybe we need to have a talk with our producer. Oh, shit, it's Whitney. But JT is not hearing anything about staying. He genuinely is like, I am leaving tomorrow. Vanita tries to ask JT as they're getting out of the Sprinter van if he's mad at her, but he essentially wants to talk off camera because he starts to say that and instead says, we'll talk later. Do not make Vanita feel like it's her fault. Yes, she tried. She interjected, but do you think they all needed to then pile on her? I don't think she could take it as well as you could, JT. And I'm not saying this as, I don't know, I'm not trying to totally make an excuse, but how much was Vanita supposed to stand up for him when she wasn't there? It was Shep who needed to speak up a little bit more, and he was, and I was proud of Shep for doing that. But at the end of the day, it's not on Vanita to fight your battles, buddy. Some of these battles you got in to by yourself. Period. Dot. Some of them, not your fault. I'm going to say that here and now. Whitney, Shep, and Taylor. Whitney, Shep, and Craig decide to go gamble. Yeah, Taylor would have been an interesting addition to that now, wouldn't she? She probably would have been praying over the slot machines. The girls put on their pajamas and we see 90 minutes later, Vanita goes up to JT's room and he's being all flirty and cutesy with her through the door when she knocks until he sees the cameras. And his face just completely falls when he sees the camera and he says, no cameras. Ooh, okay. The next morning, we get a shot of Austin's dirty ass feet in his bed. Oh, sir. No. Just put some shoes on if you were walking around at the beach. That's one thing, or walking at the pool. But my God, at least wash your feet before you get into bed at night. Oh, I would not be able to. Like, can you imagine the dirt and the sand all inside the sheets? Ew. Everyone genuinely looks miserable and hungover. Dear Lord, got in heaven. No, Vanita. No. I'm in pain watching this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so in confessional, Vanita is asked what happened in JT's hotel room when she went up there last night. And she says, I literally straddled the man and said, don't act like you don't want this just as bad as I do. And oh, Vanita, baby girl, no. You are far too precious and sweet and all the good things to be doing this for any man who is not reciprocating it. In JT's confessional, he says, I think I make it clear when I remove her from me in my bed, not once, but twice in the Bahamas because I have a girlfriend. We do see a photo of him and his girlfriend. Why has she not been mentioned at all before, sir? If I were his girlfriend, I'd be like, excuse me, I should be coming at the end of every sentence before the period. Dot. Thank you. But JT says it's no easy thing for a man to do. Then Vanita's confessional, she says that for him to say to her, this was such a weird way to say it, but the feelings you have are the same I have for you, but stronger. So let me rephrase that. You and I feel very strongly about each other, but your feelings are stronger for me than mine are for you, Vanita. Ouch. So he rejected our precious, adorable Vanita. And God damn it, I hate seeing gorgeous, kind, adorable, intelligent women in this position. If she wants a good man to be in a relationship with, and that's what she wants, I want that for her too, God damn it. By the way, that bagel that Vanita tries to bite into looked like it was made of the same shit that bagels are made of in the Midwest. And I'm so sorry. I'm part of this Midwest here. And those bagels, compared to New York, New Jersey bagels, they're like made of tire rubber and Elmer's glue. That was not an East Coast bagel. That's for goddamn sure. Sally and Madison are in bed, essentially fighting for their lives through this hangover when JT texts Madison, and Madison says JT is going to come by their room to talk to her. In confessional, she says, look, JT was my friend, and I really should hear him out. And oh my God, in the boys' suite, Shep climbs into Craig's bed, saying he saw Craig's phone calls and that, well, Shep says he spiraled the last night over the Sienna stuff and that he woke up in a beach chair by the pool. This is so Tom Schwartz coded. And I have been saying for years that Shep and Schwartz are the same man in different fonts, and Shep's font has a trust fund. Period. They both play the gosh, I'm just a sad little puppy dog. I mean, they are the same. Thank you so much. Shep then tells, because here's why I say they're so coded. Remember when Schwartz, season 6, they went to Mexico, Playa del Carmen, and Schwartz found himself at another resort. No idea how, because he was blacked out. Anyway, Shep tells Craig, nothing bad happened. And Craig's like, yeah, I'm glad nothing bad happened, but you're also lucky in that regard. And in confessional, Craig says that Shep got kicked out of the casino in the middle of the night, which looks like it was around 11 o'clock at night, because he was so drunk he couldn't stand up. So when the rest of them were done gambling, they went up to the room, and Shep is nowhere to be found. Shep tells Craig that when they told him to leave his phone at the suite and have fun the day before, he may have taken that a little too seriously. Sir, you are in your 40s. Keep your stupid ass phone on you. Craig tells him that whatever this is that's going on with him and happening with him, it ain't healthy, buddy. And Shep interrupts him to say that Sienna is coming on the boat today. And Craig just goes, why? Craig, sweetie pie, baby, why do you think? Because Shep is determined to continue playing the lost puppy dog, and he's not in love with Sienna. He's obsessed with her. And he might possibly be a bit of a narcissist to not see why Sienna might not be interested, at least anymore. Craig reminds Shep that he spiraled yesterday and slept on a beach chair because of her. And here's the thing, that's 50% true. Okay. The other 50% is that Shep chose to get hammered to deal with his vulnerability, emotion things, and the rejection. So he was blacked out and slept on a beach chair. That was Shep's choice. He could have slept real comfy in his own bed after just a few glasses of wine. I mean, you are on vacation. You can have 3 or 4. Why not? But you should have gone home. Shep is so hungover that he's attempting to tell Craig that Craig has a habit of viewing things very black and white, this or that, and that Craig is very staunch in his views of one thing is right and one thing is wrong. But Craig is going to blame everything going on with Shep on Sienna, saying it's all her fault, and that if the trip had been planned just 3 weeks ago when the feelings were the same, that they'd all be one big happy family. Listen, babes, it doesn't matter when the trip happened, if it had been planned 3 weeks prior, 3 weeks later, a month prior. As long as Sienna ended up watching the full range of the old episodes and seeing the old Shep Rose, this was going to happen, because that's what she says had happened whenever she really started pulling away. But Shep looks at Craig and just goes, oh, I'm in love, man. I don't know what to say. It's getting difficult to feel bad for Shep at this point. You know what I'm saying? Shep hasn't even talked to Sienna yet today, and Craig concludes Shep can just spend another day with Sienna if she is showing up to come on the boat, so that he can see what it looks like for them and whatever's happening in this relationship at the end of it. JT shows up to the girls' suite, and Madison and JT go outside. He gives Madison a box of cigars to give Whitney and Miss Patricia. I have a hard time imagining Miss Pat smoking cigars, yet at the same time, I can absolutely see it. Interesting. Does she even smoke them, though? He says he didn't want to get into it at dinner last night and apologizes that he brought up the FaceTime call with her and Brett to Craig, and that his big mistake there was talking about it with Craig, and that it wasn't a hit job on Madison and Brett. She tells him it hurt her feelings when she heard what he had said, but JT's like, look, what hurt your feelings is what Craig claimed I said, not what I actually said. He says again that Craig flamed their relationship and that everyone is just going off of Craig's telephone game of bullshit. And he wants the relationship he had with Madison back because it's going to have to include honesty at the same time. He says he's being real with her and wants this friendship to work, but clearly Madison isn't quite there yet, I guess, because she says to him, "Well, it's about time you being real." She says in confessional that she doesn't forget people that burn her. And at the same time, she's like, "Look, I won't forget it, but I'm good to move on," essentially. He says he's going back to Charleston to take care of some business. And Madison's like, "Look, don't cower it out. Come on the boat. Don't leave." And he's like, "No, there's no winning when it comes to Craig being this staunch in his conviction of what he believes was said." So eventually she's like, "All right, well, get the fuck out." And he's like, "Madison, I wouldn't want to hear it from you any other way." Craig FaceTimes with Paige, and Shep and his situation with Sienna is brought up. So Paige tells him that the one thing she will say to Shep regarding everything happening with Sienna is that with long distance relationships, if it's already shaky, it's only going to get shakier. And he tells her that he said everything he wanted to say and laid everything out there for Sienna. Paige says it's now on Sienna then, and if she's not giving the same energy back, he needs to let her go. Agreed. I mean, I don't know. I can't help it. I tend to be quite direct myself, the same way Paige is, but I'll try and soften it at first. And if it's still not getting through, then I go right in. It does really sound different coming from Paige than it did from Craig, though, even if she and Craig are actually saying the exact same thing. And it's clear Craig has been trying to relay the same advice Paige has been giving him to Shep, but it just doesn't come out the same way. Craig says that the main thing Shep has been saying to him is essentially, how can someone tell him 3 weeks ago that they love him and then act like this toward him? Paige says the obvious, which is that things change. She lists all these things that if Sienna isn't doing them, including, or if she's not sleeping in the same bed with you at night, if she's not trying to spend time with you, if she's not trying to introduce you to her family. And Shep interrupts saying, "No, she did. I did meet Sienna's family. It was 2 months ago. 2 months ago." But she tells him to look at the fact that Sienna wasn't talking to him before he got there and that she won't be talking to him when he leaves. And Craig says in confessional that he and Austin have been trying to get through to Shep and that he thinks Shep just needs to hear a girl translate it to him. I mean, this might be one of the first times any of these Southern straight gentlemen think that a woman could deliver a message that they would actually hear versus hearing it from a man. Wouldn't you know it? But again, this is where Craig was taking exactly what Paige was telling him, and then he tried to say it his own way to Shep. It kind of reminds me of in Forgetting Sarah Marshall when what's his name? Oh my gosh, Jason Segel's stepbrother is trying to tell him, "Look, you need to iron your shirt. You need to do this. You need to do that." And really, it's his stepbrother's wife whispering to him on this video, on this Zoom call, to the point where Jason Segel's character is like, "Dude, just tell her to come in. What is it that she wants to say?" And that's really what I feel like is happening here. You know what I'm talking about? If not, ignore me. But Paige goes ahead and tells Shep the thing her mother would tell her when she was in her 20s. If they like you, you would know it. She doesn't like you. And that he needs to let Sienna go. And I'm so sorry, Shep. Paige is right here. It needed to be said by Paige and not Craig, apparently. Like I said, this has got to be the first time any of these men received a message from a female before they received it from a man. Huh. Ain't that something? I have to be honest and also add that it's very difficult when you're a kind of direct person, and which I do believe Craig can be quite direct, even if sometimes he's misguided, and I think he does mean well. That being said, it is very difficult to watch your friend be kind of this delulu when it comes to a relationship, and you're like, they don't like you. I hate to put it this way, but ladies, we've all watched a friend go through this. And I'm sure the men have too. My God. but I can only speak on the female perspective and the number of times I've had to look at a friend and be like, girl, he's not calling you. There has to be a reason. And there are plenty of times, more than I would like to count, that someone has had to do that for me because, men. Anywho, at this point, everyone is heading out to go out on this boat. And my God, as they are walking to the dock, and Shep is all dressed up in his cute little matching set, his special Bahamas matching set. Sienna sends a text to him that simply says, "Hey, not sure I'm going to be able to make the boat. I'm running late. Sorry." Oh my God. You guys, I can't, because I have been fairly on Sienna's side for the most part, but this is rude AF. She should have said something sooner, before he got there or before this day. She didn't have to go on the boat if she didn't feel comfortable. I'm not going to say anyone should go do something that they are that uncomfortable doing, but we got to keep it real. This was such an asshole move. Like now I have to feel sorry for Shep. You, Sienna, come on, babes. Why? He tells her that, listen, we'll wait. What's your ETA? It's okay. And Craig is now, as they're all walking out, telling everyone about the spiral that Shep went on the night before. I mean, this is where also, Craig, this doesn't feel like, feels like you're just kind of being a little bit of a dick to Shep in this regard. But anyway, Shep right now is actually spiraling over the fact that Sienna is not going to be coming on the boat. Then it turns into more JT shit talking with Molly and Austin. And this is again where I'm like, the dog pile. I can't take it. It's unnecessary at this point. We get it. You don't like JT. You're sick of him. You feel like he's ruining your trip. He's not even effing there and you're still talking about him. Okay. But back to Shep, because now, after Shep asks her what her ETA is, her estimated time of arrival, Sienna just says, "I don't know how late I'm going to be. Why don't I just see you later at dinner?" And he tries to call her. It goes straight to voicemail. Oh, God. I mean, this is where it's hard. She set the boundary. She's not coming. Okay. Don't call her. But also, if I were Shep, I would be pissed. And I'm sorry, I am someone who I am very understanding if someone mentally just has to cancel because mentally they can't do it. Emotionally they can't do it. Any reason, even if it's up to the hour before, I am someone personally that I'm like, listen, shit happens. Life is hard. I'm not going to ruin any relationship I have with anyone over them choosing not to go do something with me. I can't bring myself to be that type of person. Maybe when I was younger, I would be very offended, but now I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. But if I were him, I also would be pretty pissed at this point. And at the same time, she set that boundary. So don't freaking call me right now. But it's like you can see both sides. It's a coin you can truly just keep flipping. He tells her by text, "I really wanted you to come with us, but I'll see you back at the hotel, I guess." And I do find it pretty juvenile that she did it this way. Grow up and say, "Look, I'm not coming. I don't want to go." Period. Don't try and convince me. This is where I'm at and this is how I'm feeling. They have this whole thing of us trying to make us feel some anxiety and an anticipation on whether or not Shep is going to make it to the boat or not, but he does. He's the last one to walk up the dock and get up to the boat. And they all take note of how he is so dejected, sad, really just a regular old Eeyore as he walks up. And they all try to rally him and get him to perk up. Like, "Hey, Madison's like, we'll make it like your bachelor party." And Craig's like, "Yeah, you're supposed to have fun. Party after a breakup and get back with your ex." And Taylor just whips her head around like, Excuse me." He just goes, "Sorry, Taylor." They head out and Madison, Austin, and who was sitting with them? I can't remember. someone else, sorry to whoever was sitting with them, I know it wasn't Rod, maybe Ryan, are sitting at one part of the boat while Molly, Shep, Sally, and Craig are at another part. And Madison's talking about how Shep needs to get together with Molly because she actually has interest in him. She wants to hear what he has to say. She wants to be around him. But then we see the conversation between Molly and Shep is about how Molly has not had sex in a year. And Shep's like, "What? Don't you have any urges? Gosh." And she's like, "Yeah, I take care of that by myself. There are things. It's 2024 at that time. It's now 2025. They have invented things for women to take care of themselves. Thank you so much." Austin tells Madison that no one can help you get over someone and a breakup but yourself, and that it's on you to get yourself out of that, no matter how much anyone around you says, "Oh, you got to move on, let them go, they suck, blah, blah, blah." It's on you to move past it. And part of it, Madison was running it in her head like, well, yeah, was that how it was whenever we broke up? Also, maybe with Olivia too. Vanita tells Rod and Taylor how it hurt her feelings that JT wouldn't come on the boat and that he told her he felt like he was getting beat up on at the table last night. And she was like, "Look, JT, you got to make it right." And we get a scene of JT packing up and leaving the Bahamas. JT says in confessional that he's leaving the Bahamas because he's in this lose-lose situation and that he sees an escalation with Vanita. Oh God, as it cuts to her in her confessional saying she wanted him to stay for selfish reasons so they could have fun, and she's very giggly about it. Y'all, Vanita is so cute. Like, come on. Turns out the name of the island they're stopping at is Rose Island, and Shep is so thrilled. He just stands up immediately and goes like, "Rose Island? I knew I recognized it from somewhere." Y'all, have I stated yet how badly I want to go to the Bahamas? Look how crystal clear that water was and how stunning. They all jump into the perfect, gorgeous ocean because they're so lucky to go on this fucking trip. So I'm such a bitter Betty bitch. Anyway, Austin asks Molly if she thinks Shep's tongue tastes like sandpaper and that maybe she should go try it out, see if it does, in fact, taste like sandpaper. And please tell me this is not the game that they were spitting at women at bars when they were single. Please tell me it's not. Shep and Molly pretend that they're about to make out, but they just hug. In confessional, Molly, which y'all, she looks so much like Jennifer Lawrence to me. It's wild. Anyone else see that? And I love Jennifer Lawrence. So she feels like she's at a middle school dance where everyone's like, "Go Mount Shep." And that she's like, "God, no, you go Mount Shep." Austin, Craig is now giving ocean and water analogies of going where the tide takes you. And it's annoying Shep because it's like, there are plenty of fish in the sea. Just go with the flow. When one wave comes crashing down, swim on to the next. I don't know. Don't let this take the wind out of your sails. There's too many. Shep then climbs up to the top boat deck where Madison's sitting, and he tells Madison that he came to this area with Sienna. And really, that Sienna pointed out a home and said, "I want you to buy me that house." And it was like a $10 million home. So this prompts Madison to ask him if he thinks maybe the issue is that he's not rich enough for Sienna and that's why she's doing what she's doing. He looks at her and he's like, "Yeah, I do think that." So then he tells Madison, okay, I mean, someone start playing Sarah McLachlan. "In the arms of the angels far away." He goes, "Maybe I don't even deserve shit. Like, who am I? Who the fuck am I? Like, I'm a fucking wild son of a bitch. Sort of a disaster zone. How am I a good idea for anybody?" Listen, buddy. You should have been asking this is where I'm having an issue, where I start to feel bad for you. And then my issue is, why were you not having this crisis whenever you realized you lost Taylor and you had been treating her like absolute garbage? Jeez. Anyway, he says in confessional that he's realizing from his past that, well, he was an asshole, cheater, selfish dick, but puts it as though he was just wild. And that it indeed did put a restraint on his relationships in the past, that he may not be what women are seeking, which, gosh, in a world full of men, we are looking for stability, safety, trust, joy, companionship, normal things in a partnership. So much there. So much. And he says that he's learning that he's a bit like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Madison tells him that he deserves to be loved as much as he's giving. And Shep acts like this is the most profound compliment. And I guess I will give this, that maybe it is a profound statement for him to receive, even hearing that he deserves to be loved, even though what Madison was saying was he deserves to be loved in the way he's giving love. So that also lends to, hey, look, you deserve the type of love you are giving to your person, and that person can return the type of love you're giving. So it's very much, well, you should have been only receiving the type of love you gave Taylor back, but it's kind of over his head there. He goes, "Oh my God, thank you." And Madison says in confessional that everyone deserves love, even Shep, and that her heart is breaking for him because he's clearly very sad. Well, clearly, yes. And I also think that he's just completely astounded and caught off guard by the fact that there's a woman out there who doesn't want him. And that's the thing. Shep, I'm sure there are plenty of women closer to your age, at least aim for 30s. You also, and if you're not into Molly, you're not into Molly. You don't have to be. I think she would be a fantastic balance to him. But also, I think Molly needs to go with someone who is not in this group because we've now had our sexting with Craig, then the Whitney, now Shep. Baby girl, you are interesting enough to bring someone else in. I like Molly a lot. Okay. I love her irreverence. She is very much Jennifer Lawrence coded, and she also looks like her. So I love her. I love her. So we're going to see. I think my guess is now we have 3 more episodes unless they put on the picking up the cameras after the breakup between Paige and Craig at the end of the original finale. I guess with Bravo, anytime someone breaks up, we will be picking cameras back up. But this was a big deal. Sorry. It was. So, anywho. Okay, besties. Thank you so much again for joining me today. Please leave a 5-star review with a little comment on why you love the show, please, wherever it is you listen. It really does mean the world. If you're watching here on YouTube, thank you. Subscribe, like the video, be a part of the conversation. I love seeing you all talk. I love getting your thoughts. It really is, it feeds my soul. Please follow or also subscribe to Instagram. Sorry, my brain just went like out. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Besties by Caitlin, and Caitlin is spelled Caitlin. Same name over there on YouTube at Besties by Caitlin. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to get the videos. It is me sitting here chit chatting, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm a visual person, so sometimes I like to see someone's face when I'm doing this or listening. Whatever. God, it's Friday. What is wrong with me? Besties, have a wonderful weekend. I think it's just becoming part of the sign off that I need to work on Beverly Hills. Man, I'm going to do it. Got to find the time. All right. Have a lovely, lovely weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye.